Hey there, I'm Keng0, and if you're a PC gamer like me, the Valorant beta has basically been cracked for the last few weeks. As you may already know, Valorant is a twitchy first-person shooter with very similar shooting mechanics as CSGO, but they're not entirely the same. Since they're not the same and this is a completely new game, I'm sure there's a lot of tech to be explored here, and I believe that I found something that can help you with your accuracy and time to kill. Before I get into the tech, I specifically want to mention two weapons that I think will benefit most from this tech, those two being the Stinger and the Bulldog, as they both have alternate burst fire modes, which works great for this tech. I found that this tech can work on other weapons to slightly reset your accuracy other than those two, but it doesn't seem that they have the same type of gain as the Stinger or Bulldog may have, in most scenarios of course. Alright, now for the tech. For this tech, which I'll now reference throughout the video as Aim Reset Technique, or A.R.T for short, is performed by simply firing a few shots with the gun of your choice for as long as it's pretty accurate. Then when the spread's about to get a little crazy, you want to quickly ADS and burst fire. If done right, and as you'll see throughout this video, you should see a considerably tighter bullet spread after the ADS burst. Now keep in mind that this doesn't reset the gun's visual recoil, meaning you'll still have to control your gun and keep the crosshair on target for your bullets to actually hit while ADS. With the basic idea behind A.R.T out of the way, let's now talk about the Stinger. It's a super fast firing bullet hose with lowish damage and mid to high recoil that can drop targets quickly in close range. But because of the Stinger's high recoil and low damage per bullets, it's traditionally pretty difficult to use in anything other than fairly close quarters. However, you can further extend this gun's effective range by utilizing A.R.T. The burst rate of fire for the Stinger is the same as full auto at 18 shots per second, but it does have a burst delay of about 250 milliseconds before you can shoot another burst while ADS, which is why it shows up as 4 shots per second in the shop's description for the Stinger. As you saw in the previous demonstrations, A.R.T resulted in a noticeably tighter bullet spread at 20 meters versus the standard recoil / hipfire at that same range, with the minimal impact of the gun's fire speed. I say minimal impact because you do have to accurately time your ADS burst after your initial hipfire, so it can be a little tough to do at first. Kind of still is for me. Let's now take a look at the time to kill for the Stinger. For the Stinger, you'll need 6 shots to kill, considering all body shots, at 0 to 20 meters. Without using A.R.T, the full auto time to kill at 0 to 20 meters is 333 milliseconds, if you can hit your shots. But with A.R.T, the time to kill at that same range is about 375 milliseconds, which is a slight slowdown to our time to kill. Though it does slow down our time to kill a little bit, A.R.T allows you to actually stay on target and hit your shots at those ranges up to 20 meters, which improves consistency with killing. If you mix in a couple headshots at that same range, as you should in Valorant, you can kill in 3 shots, which will take 167 milliseconds. And that's actually insane, since the burst looks pretty accurate. Overall, in its effective range, you can get time to kill as bursty as 167 milliseconds to a still fairly quick 389 milliseconds. And that's still super competitive in this game. With A.R.T and the fact that the Stinger is only 1,000 credits, I think it's a threatening weapon and a must-buy for early rounds or rounds where you really want to light buy. And real quick before we move on, you'll notice that my dumbass here has no time on the clock, and I think I'm sneaky enough to, go over to the next site. But no, I just fucking lose here like a goddamn idiot because I'm a fucking inbred. Time to look at the Bulldog. I don't really see many people using this weapon right now, as it does seem outclassed by the Guardian, Vandal, Phantom, the other rifles in the game because of its lack of one-shot potential, medium to high-ish damage, and slow standard rate of fire. Though, if you take a deeper look into this gun, you can see that it doesn't have a range drop-off, meaning it is a very consistent gun. Also, the Bulldog fires slightly slower than the Vandal at 9.15 shots per second, but the bullet spread isn't too bad for full auto. Though, if you try ADSing the Bulldog and firing, you'll notice that the burst of bullets is very accurate and fires way faster than the full auto rate of fire, even though the shop description says that the ADS burst fires slower than the standard rate of fire at only 4 shots per second. But that speed is factoring in the delay between the ADS burst, and after testing the burst of the Bulldog, I found that the burst is extremely fast at about 18 shots per second, which is Stinger territory when we're talking about rate of fire. Factoring in the first few shots firing slower before you apply the ADS burst, I've measured A.R.T rate of fire to be about 12 shots per second, which is still faster than normal. All this means that if we properly utilize A.R.T to this weapon, we can increase its time to kill potential, as well as maintain the Bulldog's low recoil. Now for the time to kill difference for the Bulldog. The Bulldog, considering you hit all body shots, will need 5 shots to kill at any range. As for the standard rate of fire time to kill, considering all body shots, is quite slow at 546 milliseconds, but that's if you hit the body. Overall time to kill for the standard rate of fire can be as quick as 218 milliseconds, and that's if you hit 1 bullet to the head and the body. However, it can be as painfully slow as 656 milliseconds if you manage to hit them in the legs for a 6-shot kill. If we calculate the A.R.T time to kill, again considering all body shots and the different rates of fire between the fire modes, I have measured the time to kill to be about 416 to 454 milliseconds, depending on how fast you're able to hit fire and burst. That's a noticeable improvement, and that's just body shots too. After taking a look at the time to kill for the Bulldog with A.R.T, we still maintain the great 218 millisecond up close time to kill potential, but we decreased the max time to kill to 500 milliseconds, which is quite noticeable. If we now compare A.R.T's overall time to kill with the other rifles in the game, we can now see that it's more competitive with all the other rifles than before. And on top of that, this is the least expensive rifle in the game at only 2,100 credits, so the Bulldog may be pretty cheap, but it's got a bite. Now, if you're not convinced, you may say that this all sounds great in theory, right? But why wouldn't you just burst with hipfire at longer range? And that would be a good argument for not using A.R.T if you weren't getting the benefit of zooming in when ADSing, which helps you stay on target, and the more consistent fire rate you can get with A.R.T versus bursting a few shots and hipfire and or dealing with a burst delay when ADS or aim down sights. Though some weapons can benefit from the same type of A.R.T technique, spray control and other techniques can still rival this one in the right scenarios. I just really wanted to specify the Stinger and Bulldog with this tech, as this has the potential to spice up weapon variety in Valorant. That way we can have some great alternatives that can be really viable and effective when bought and utilized in the correct scenarios. But I'm hoping that I've convinced you who's watching to try this out in your next game and really see for yourself. And after trying out A.R.T for yourself, I want you to comment below to let me know how it's worked for you in your games and what you really overall think about it. One last thing, since I mentioned earlier that A.R.T can work on other weapons, I'd like to show specifically which weapons A.R.T can still make a difference for. I can also go over and compare times to kill for the rest of the guns in the game. So to let me know that you want to see more of that type of content, please take 2 seconds to drop a quick like and comment below if you got some time to kill. Of course, please consider subscribing for more Valorant content, share this video if you're a fan of Valorant, and check out the links below to follow me on social media. Keng0 out.
Last player standing.
Oh, this guy's a psychopath. I hate